Christian Medical and Dental Association of Nigerian Student Arm presents our annual National Conference 2020 with the theme Descent, as sheep among wolves, as light in the darkness in a soon ending world. Join us for an amazing and refreshing time in God's presence. God bless you.
My name is Nyeche. So first of all, at the end of this meeting, I would have educated the participants on the need and the how to be better communicators, irrespective of the audience size. This was my mandate, and this was what I was told to do. This was what I was told to do. Also, to teach participants how to be better communicators, irrespective of the audience size, interest of an audience, fair communication, which is vocal and non-vocal, and then talk more about the basic principles of public speaking. So first of all, we want to start with what is public speaking or oration. It's a process, or it's an act of performing a speech to a live audience, like this is what I'm doing, public speaking, because I am in my house in Port Harcourt and I'm speaking to several people. I can also be in a hall and speak to people. It can also be in a wardrobe. It can also be anywhere. The bottom line is that in public speaking, someone is on the hot seat, as it were, trying to pass out information to other people. It's commonly understood as formal, face-to-face speaking of a single person to a group of listeners. However, due to evolution of public speaking, it's viewed as any form of speaking. Even talking with somebody on the phone, even if it's one person, it is public speaking. So why do we do public speaking? The first is to inform. It's to inform people about things. Information is king. People want to know breaking news. People want to know headlines. So one of the reasons why we do public speaking is to inform people. And that reason is to educate people. Many of our lectures are all forms of public speaking, in the sense that a lecturer or a senior colleague stands on the podium to teach us about a subject, whether it's brachial plexus, whether it's surgery, whether it's orthopedics, whether it's pathology, pharmacology. That is part of public speaking. Also, public speaking, another reason for it is to inspire and to persuade. When you go to church, one of the things they want to do when they preach or when they share a sermon, is to try to inspire you or to persuade you to do something, to persuade you to take a course of action, persuade you to do something. Also, another reason for public speaking is to entertain, to entertain you. And that's why people pay thousands, millions to be in a place where they can sit down and be entertained. Parts of public speaking. That's why in programs, people have to inform or invite master of ceremonies or comedians and so on and so forth to entertain. Like Dale Carnegie said, he said, great speakers are not born, they are trained. As I say this, I laugh. I remember the first time I spoke in university. I was supposed to go and preach in a hall in Uniport. I think that hall was MBA1, big hall in our Faculty of Science building. And I remember standing on that place and trying to speak. And as I was trying to speak, no words were coming out from my mouth. I felt so overwhelmed. So it's important to know that with time, practice, probably I got to know this better and do this better. So it's important to note that great speakers are not born, they are trained. Cicero, one of the founding fathers or one of the biggest orators, had some canons. And his canon was like, if I want to do a speech, what do I do? Invention, develop an idea. And that is why for this meeting today, I was given a topic. And that topic was what I was given. And so from this topic, public speaking and communication, I was supposed to build, thoughts, build ideas. The second of his 5 canons were arrangement. I know I have to arrange things. I have to start with introduction, then maybe the body of the main talk, and then conclusion, and then questions. This is how an arrangement. Everybody has an arrangement. You want to say something, you start with an introduction, you know how to arrange it, and then, of course, the structure. Also, talking about the style, the style. How do I do this? How do I talk about it? How do I deliver? How do I make my audience, to understand what is happening? So it's very important. The style, then memory. Sometimes it's also good for you to memorize what you are talking, and that's why the place of practice comes in, which we'll learn later. So, but it's important to memorize because never can take light, because things can happen, and when these things happen, you may not be able to continue your flow. I remember one day I was trying to do a speech somewhere, and the laptop was not connecting, or the laptop was not moving, and it was as though I was stuck. So, place of memory, and then the delivery, which is your effective use of your language, your voice, body language, and so on and so forth. All right. So, presenting is a skill, and can be developed through training and experience. So it's important as you train yourself, as you get the experience, you begin to arrange yourself more. I've done many presentations, many talks, and so no matter the place I am called to talk, I tend not to get nervous because of experience. Even this program today, I've had a long week. I've had a long week, but somehow we just have to find a way and put these things together. And that is where experience comes in. So effective public speaking is influence. Great leaders are effective public communicators, or they have a good communicating team around them. And of course, we know that influence is leadership. Talk about elements of public speaking. We have the speaker or the source. The speaker, for instance, today I'm the speaker. The speaker is very important, very important. For instance, if I have food, good food to share, and I'm shabbily dressed or I'm smelling, even if the food is good, the food itself may not be taken. I can have food, for instance, well cooked, and then the food has flies on it. It's also very possible that people may not accept the food, and that is why it's important that the speaker or the vessel has some form of credibility. Very important. The speaker is very vital, very vital. Also, the message. What am I speaking today? I have a message, and the message is about public speaking. So you have a message. This message can be about biochemistry. The message can be about the novel pathway. The message can be about arrhythmias, different messages. And so also the channel, how am I talking? Where am I talking to? Is it a podium? Like for instance, the channel right now is the internet. I'm talking from my house. I'm communicating to people all over the world, all over the country. So that's a channel. The listener is you listening. Ransom example, Ransom. I'm seeing Adekule Emmanuel. I'm seeing Confidence. These are all the listeners. So your listeners are important because you don't want to move stuff and the person you are moving stuff with is sleeping. You don't want to move stuff, and as you're moving stuff, the person you are moving stuff to is snoring. So the listener is very important. Also, the feedback. I want to hear, what do they think? Did I spend my time saying rubbish? Did I spend my time doing something wonderful? Want to talk about interference. What are the distracting factors? Like now, I'm talking to you. Some of you may be checking Facebook. These are all interference. Some of you may be doing WhatsApp. These are all interference. Some of you may be doing something else, just put it on. Let's be online so that my chapter president doesn't call me after he gave me free data. These are all interference. Also in the class, sometimes a wonderful session is going on and your mind is in Aba, or your mind is in Abuja, or your mind is somewhere. So it's very important. And then also talking about situation, the surroundings, what's happening around there. And these are all elements of public speaking. And it's important that any person that is a public speaker has to be able to understand all this and use them for his or her advantage. All right. So, what are we talking? I want to do a wonderful speech. I want to be a good public speaker. How do I go about it? The first, I have to know my material, know what you are talking about. It is very strange for you, for instance, you want to go and teach for instance, brachial plexus, you've never read it before. You have to know your material. If not, you will never be confident. If not, you will likely stammer. If not, you will likely read from your textbook throughout. So you need to know your material. Whatever you are being told to talk about, you need to know it. You need to know it. Like one of my lecturer of blessed memory, he said you need to know the language or have the language of the subject. And how do you know the language of the subject when you have not studied the subject? So you have to study the subject to know the language of the subject. So it's very important. You have to also infuse yourself or be peculated by the subject so that you can understand it. So you have to know your material, whatever it is, whether it's the Bible, whether it's your Davidson, whether it's your Bedo, whether it's your pediatrics in Kangineme, whether it's your biochemistry, whatever textbook it is, you have to know your material. Also, still part of that, you have to know more about it than what you include in your speech. So you have to know very well. You have to know your speech. You have to know. You have to. That's why you have to be vast. You have to study whatever it is. So anytime you are given time to do a presentation, it's important to know it. Sometimes you see some people trying to present slides, and on the slide they pack all the stuff and put on the slide because if you off the light just goes, there's problem. All right. So also another thing I also found out is that recently I had a talk with a medical student, and then I told the medical student to do a presentation, and the presentation was supposed to be on tetanus, and I told her to do a slide, so that everybody in the team could benefit from what she was saying. And so somehow she went to put ANS on the slide. ANS. It was all this copy and paste because I knew where she got it from SlideShare. Copied the slide and dumped there for us. I was just following her. So he got to a place, ANS. So curiously, I asked the girl, please, what is ANS? That was how NEPA took light. NEPA took light. So it is very important to understand that we need to know more than you include in your speech. Very, very important. All right. So please don't write on your screen. So it's important also to understand you need to know your materials. Why? An empty bag cannot stand upright. You have to be full. You have to know your stuff. You have to be filled with the word. For you to speak the word. For you to live upright, you have to know the word. The Bible says, the word have I hid in my heart that I might not sin against God. So you need to know. You need to know. Let me just digress a bit. The Bible says that you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. The Bible goes further to say that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Lord. So an empty bag cannot stand upright. So you have to know, that's why the Bible says something. It says we'll give ourselves continually to prayer and to the ministry of the word. You must also have some sense of humor, add it where necessary. No, I didn't go and do humor when you are moving stuff that you don't know about. That one is an insult. Or you're going to do humor where the humor that will go left. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So it's important. Okay. So another thing we need to do again as well is 7 P's, talking about preparation. Very important. Someone say proper prior preparation prevents piss poor presentations. So you have to prepare. You have to go through your slides. You have to go through your slides. You have to do stuff. You have to prepare for any presentation. You have to go through your slides. Sometimes people invite people. You never know. The kind of preparation they've put into it. You never know the hours. Sometimes maybe I talk. You never know the books, the number of books I may have read on that subject for me to be able to talk confidently. So it's important that we prepare. Also in our academics, if you are given a slide to present in your work, in your academics, at school, at your office or anywhere, it's important that before that time you take your time and put yourself together. So practice, and that one, practice. Go to your mirror, practice. Talk. You are talking, just keep on talking. I remember when I was preparing for one of my exams, I had to be talking because I'll just sit down, I'll just say on examination, I've examined the cardiovascular system of this patient, and the pulse rate is 10 or 70 beats per minute, full volume, regular, ticking, there are no ticking arterial wall or brachialis, there's no radial synchrony, there's no radiofemoral delay. These are things that you talk and it becomes part of you, So also in our academics, in anything that we need to practice, we need to practice. We need to practice. We need to practice. We need to practice. I'll say it over again. Why? Because some people say that practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. So we need to, all right. Also, we need to learn how to pause. That'll be a time to pause. That'll be a time to breathe. It's not you are talking. No. Sometimes just pause, calm down, and then breathe, and then pass the message you are passing. Also, another way of being a very great, public speaker, you need to know your audience. Very important, because what works for one audience may not work for another audience. What I will say in CMDA will not be the same thing I will likely say or present it similarly in CMDA students. I cannot go to year one and start moving some kind of stuff. I cannot go to year two and start moving some kind of stuff. Even year four, there are some stuff I'll move for year four, and another stuff for year five, and then another stuff for people that will soon become doctors. So it's important to know your audience. Sometimes when I'm invited to speak, or anytime I'm invited to speak any group, one of the things I give to them is a form. I want to know the audience. I want to know how many years people I'm talking to, because what I would tell to someone that is 7 years old will not be what I would tell to someone that is 15 or 20 years old. So you need to know your audience. And then, if possible, greet your audience. Like I know Ransom called me earlier today, so I can talk his name. Ransom, I'm seeing Bonlale, I'm seeing confidence here. So it's important to talk, greet the audience so that you feel yourself, you feel relaxed, and also they feel relaxed to get what you want to say, because it's easier to speak to a group of friends than to strangers. And then also, as you want to talk, another thing also is to visualize giving your speech. So right now, I am visualizing that as I speak, you guys are getting what I'm saying. I'm visualizing that as I speak, you are clapping, giving me a standing ovation for a wonderful speech. So you have to visualize that your speech was wonderful. You can't hope to have a wonderful speech, or you can't hope to do a speech and thinking that the speech will not work well. So as you prepare, imagine yourself speaking out loud. Picture yourself in the room where you will speak. Think of yourself as being confident. So you have to speak. Relax your entire body by stretching, breathing, as I said earlier. Visualize yourself giving your speech from start to finish. So by visualizing yourself successful, you will become successful. So imagine your voice loud, not like me when I started speaking for the first time, when my voice just went off, mic just off on me. I was talking and nothing was coming out. Imagine the audience clapping. Imagine the audience getting blessed. Imagine them getting blessed. So also, when you speak, don't constantly apologize for your shortcoming. I'm not talking well. This is my first time. Sorry, you're apologizing throughout your speech. No, all those are distractions, because many times your audience never notice your nervousness. There are a lot of things I can say about this presentation today that you will not notice, but I'm just laughing because it was just few hours ago that I tried to put this stuff together. So see, I was just trying to put all these things together. The reality is that there are a lot of things the audience will not notice. So there's no need trying to show all these things. Also, focus on the message. Focus on the message, not yourself. Right now, my focus is how to do good public presentation to you, because you need it. You need it. You go for outreaches, you need to learn how to speak. You do presentations, you need to learn how to speak. You will do word round, you learn how to speak. You will do Viva, whether it's OSCE or PASIS or PASCI. So you need to learn how to speak. You will do seminars. A lot of things you will do. Plenty of things. That's why the place of public speaking cannot be overemphasized. You want to go and defend budget, you want to go for a meeting, you need to learn how to speak. So focus on the message, not just me, small me, small me coming to move stuff here. No, focus on the message. All right. So get your attention off your anxieties. Focus instead on getting your message to the audience. And then another thing is also to gain experience. And what does gain experience mean? Gaining experience means practice makes permanent. Keep on talking. Keep on talking. Keep on getting yourself involved, getting yourself immersed. Keep on talking. So it's very important to gain experience, because experience builds confidence. This is not the first time I'm doing this. This is not the first time. So with more experience, I become more proficient in what I'm doing. So you will not compare a surgeon that just started operating and a surgeon that has operated for 10 years. There is experience. So, and one of the things about experience is that it builds confidence. It builds confidence. So it's very, very important. Experience builds confidence. And why is this important? Because confidence is the key to public speaking. Also, it's important to study yourself. In the mirror, study yourself. Dress appropriately. You know, I cannot invite you for a program somewhere, and then in that program I invited you, you are not dressing appropriately. All right. So it's important to dress appropriately. Dress for the occasion. Very, very important to dress appropriately. Okay. So and then make an impression. You cannot go for a program where you're supposed to be corporate and then dress almost naked. So it's important to dress appropriately for the occasion. Look interesting and appropriately. Very, very, very important. All right, we try to draw to a close. It's important that sometimes when you talk, read directly. There are some do's, some don'ts, and some of the don'ts is reading directly from the notes. You're just looking at your notes. Reading directly from the screen. You're fixed. Turn your back on the audience, because the audience is king as far as that presentation is concerned. Keeping your hands in the pocket for a long time is not very okay. Gestures and then make some other gestures. Talking too fast. I talk very fast anyway. But as I said, it depends on the audience. Talking very fast and then talking too quietly. Sometimes you are talking and nobody is hearing you. Okay. So these are some of the don'ts you don't do. So thank you very, very, very much. Just like prayer, to be very frank with you, one of the things about public speaking is that practice, practice, practice. Practice, practice, practice. Practice, practice, practice. So thank you very much for your time.
Okay, now we'll be taking questions. This one I can see here is, please, is there any special way to reduce saying things like
Speaking is concerned. The key word is practice, practice, practice. For instance, if I ask you, Bolale, if I ask you what's your name, can you respond?
Yes, sir.
What's your name?
My name is Bolale.
What level are you in?
500 level, sir.
Which school are you in?
University of Port Harcourt.
Okay, so why are you answering? Why are you answering? Why are you not Ming? Why are you not doing MM?
Because I already know it.
No, it's a very important question. So why are you not doing MM? Why are you not doing MMM? If a guy that likes you or someone you like asks you, what's your name for the first time, are you sure you're going to say, my name is Bolale straight up?
No.
So the bottom line is that sometimes you get anxious, okay? So when you are anxious, you can do the MMM. So, but however, one of the things is that, one, you need to know your subject, just like you answered your name. And so, like some people will say, your stuff has to be at the spinal cord level, because if it's what you know, you will likely answer without aiming. Okay. All right. Then apart from that, also, when you have a message, like I said, your focus should be on the message, not on how inadequate you are. For instance, if even if you know what a pause is, it's very possible that if you are brought before Professor, okay, you're Uniport, so if you're brought before someone like Professor Continuous Question, it's very possible that if you don't put your composure, you may know the answer, but you answer wrongly, stuff like that. So it's important that you focus on your audience at the case him, and then focus on your message, which is the stuff, and then present it. So sometimes also because we want to rush, you have to aim because you are rushing. So take your time, talk, breathe where necessary, pause, and then answer whatever has been asked you.
Do you visualize your speech
Okay, I
before
have to
time?
visualize my speech before time. I know my speech is going to be wonderful. I know it's going to, yes, I do. And also, when I'm on the podium, I also visualize, practice, or talk towards that outcome I have visualized. It's just like
Okay.
playing a football match. Don't practice a lot, and then your teammate gives you a pass. If you have practiced enough, you should know where the pass is going to come from. So that is where the place of practice comes in. You cannot say I want to visualize and then you don't even know what you are talking about. That's counterproductive. So whatever you are talking, just like for instance, you are told to talk about okay, you have told to talk about what do you call it again? Something like maybe you just say you're told to talk about HIV. You visualize that the outcome of your presentation will be wonderful, but you never read any material about HIV. You did not even research. You just came out and to say you want to talk about HIV. The presentation is going to be very nasty. Why? Because you didn't play the other part, but you have to visualize. All right, so it's very important.
Are there any tips to keep the anxiety of public speaking in check when faced with a large audience?
Yes, like as I said, training with more practice, you get more experience, and with more experience, you become more confident. The major thing is that whenever you are talking to people, whether it's a group or not, focus on the message. Apart from focusing on the message, it's also important that you learn how to keep eye contact. Very important. You learn how to keep eye contact because many times the eye contact just shows that look, you're in charge. Learn how to keep eye contact, focus on the message. In fact, look at it this way: you want to help. If you want to help somebody, that information. Look at that information you want to give as an information that is going to help somebody, that is going to impact someone's life. So if you are delivering that message, how would you deliver that message? Or look at it this way: someone is very hungry, somebody needs to eat, and then you have all the ingredients and the food to ensure that you cure the person's hunger, the case will be. You do the best and do what you need to do. So it's important, first of all, to visualize, prepare, as I said, because poor preparation precedes poor performance. You prepare, you know about what you want to talk about, you practice often, and then you focus on your message. Don't look at your inadequacies. And then, as we know, as I said, more practice. The more you practice, the better you become. The more you practice, the better you become. For instance, this moderation you are moderating today, I don't know whether this is your first time, but the reality is that the next time you're going to moderate, you will do better than you did today. That is how it is. So that is why it's important to practice, keep practicing, and you get better at what you do.
The last question that we will be taking: how do I access my listeners' interests?
You look at their body language, okay? You look at their body language, one. You look at their own gesticulation. Apart from that, also, you look at their call to action. When you give that call to action, they respond positively to your call to action. So the bottom line is that whatever you are supposed to do whatever you are supposed to do. And the most important thing is that the test of the food is in the pudding. After the end, you are going to see whatever. But one of the ways, it will not be very wonderful that maybe you are speaking and then everybody is sleeping. That's just a sign that people are maybe tired or probably bored, and that is why many times, if it's possible, when you speak to people, if they can give a feedback, you can get interact with them when necessary. It helps a lot so that the audience are part of what is going on.
Thank you so much. I believe we've answered majority of the questions that were asked. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir.
I believe you were blessed. Thank you for listening. For more information, you can log into www.cmdnigeria.org.